Want to start by talking about something big that happened yesterday. It's got, well, actually does have something to do with the Navy Yard shooting. We'll parlay that into it in a few minutes here. But it's I really want to bring this to your attention, especially for listeners who are over the age of 40, because this is a game changer. And by the way, this is not something that just happened. This is a trend that's been going on for the last couple of years. I want to talk about video games. Yesterday, Grand Theft Auto 5 debuted, or maybe it may actually have been the day before. But in its opening day, it earned more than $800 million in a single day. Listen to that figure. $800 million in a single day. To put that in perspective for you, we had a wildly successful movie come out this summer that was successful by Hollywood standards, Man of Steel. In its entire run worldwide, it didn't make $800 million. And by the way, it ran more than one day. Yeah. This gaming is bigger, much bigger than Hollywood. And there's just a ton of money involved. We're going to talk a little bit about this because it's they've linked, surprise, video gaming to the Navy Yard shooter. In fact, we're now finding out that this guy, in addition to being mentally unstable, would spend as much as 18 hours at a stretch playing Call of Duty 2. Now, my boys have that game. First of all, I wouldn't let them play it for 18 hours straight. I'm trying to think, is there anything that I could do for 18 hours straight other than stay awake? I don't think I've got the attention span. But this guy was so obsessed with the gaming that he would it was what is it? Is it World of Witchcraft, or I can't remember the game. There's another game where people are just totally obsessed to the point where Warcraft. That's it. Thank you, Annika. Where people are so obsessed they'll go like days on end, and they've actually had people die playing the game because they forgot to eat or drink. I mean, that's just crazy. That's just crazy. As Kathy Taylor would say, that's crazy. Now, I don't know what you do with somebody who's mentally unstable. And again, you're not keeping these games out of the hands of kids. How are you going to keep it out of the hands of how old was the guy? 31, something like that, 34-year-old adult. What do you have, a 3-day waiting period? I don't think if the guy can get a gun, okay, how do you keep this stuff out of their hands? Although we see a pattern time and time again, and there's a number of different variables. Usually somebody who's mentally unstable, somebody who's on psychiatric drugs, but we can't talk about that because big pharma, really controls the mainstream media. You're not going to bite the hand that feeds you. That's where the advertising dollars are coming from. There's always this component. In fact, I really think in this day and age, for somebody under the age of 40, if you're not playing video games, it's like, okay, either you're Amish or there's something wrong with you, Although what I found fascinating yesterday? When we had Schnitt on the show, now, Schnitt would never tell you this, and I'll let the cat out of the bag here. Schnitt has done very well in radio as both an FM DJ and now as a talk show host. And he has been blessed, as Mike Ritz would say. He's been very blessed financially. And the bottom line is he could get his kids anything they want. Now, what's really interesting is Schnitt isn't particularly religious, not like Glenn Beck, yet he has something in common with Glenn Beck. Both of these guys have decided Glenn Beck actually took the video games away from his kids because he didn't like what it was doing to them. He saw it changing them. It was desensitizing them. They were more comfortable living in a virtual world than dealing with real people. That's why he yanked it. But here's Schnitt. And again, his kids could have every video gaming console ever created. newest version, all the bells. He doesn't have a single system in his house. And I first of all, I was surprised. Because he's got his big in-home theater, the big screen, watches everything on Blu-ray, DVD in his house. So I thought for sure his kid. But no, and he said it's because he saw what the games were doing to their peers. He said their friends were turning into zombies. And he says he's smart in this respect. He doesn't want his kids to become zombies. So for reasons very different from Glenn Beck, he's decided we don't do that at our house. And again, here's a guy who could have any gaming console that you could possibly imagine, but he's decided not to because it's really not good long term for the kids. Now, this Grand Theft Auto 5 is, for those of you who you're not familiar with the series, it has a very mature theme, to put it lightly. And I don't know what's in the new one. And we'll talk about that a little bit later this morning, Grand Theft Auto 5. But I do know what's in Grand Theft Auto 4. And it includes things like, you're killing people, murdering people. You have virtual sex with prostitutes. You can go to a strip club. And you also, you get bonus points for killing the prostitute after you have virtual sex with her. Now, what troubles me is, first of all, and again, it might be an age thing with me. I don't get it. Maybe if you're over 40, whatever. You missed it, Pat. You're not into it. I don't understand why any adult would want to play this, let alone let their kids. I had a guy on Facebook last night, very proud of the fact that he has Grand Theft Auto 4. He's going to be getting Grand Theft Auto 5 if he hasn't already. He's an adult, very proud of the fact. I think he's got 2 kids, 10 and 14, and they play it with him. And I'm there like, what the hell's wrong with you? It's like that Lawrence O'Donnell question of Anthony Weiner. What the hell's wrong with you? Seriously, what is wrong with you? Why would anyone, and again, I don't even get why adults want to do this. Oh, it's fun. A steady diet of garbage in, garbage out. It's like pornography. A steady diet of that it's not good for anybody. It's not good for adults. It's not good for kids. None of this Dr. Oz nonsense, how much pornography is too much? As if there's just a right amount, like Goldilocks. Oh, this is just right. That's not. But why? How any adult responsible? I actually think if you're an adult and you got a kid that's 10 or, like that other story we saw about a week ago where the 8-year-old shot his grandmother after playing this, and you're letting somebody that young play a game like this, I question your judgment. I think you're reckless. I think you're irresponsible. You probably shouldn't be allowed to breed, to be honest with you. It's like, seriously, why would you let, in fact, when I was 10, I don't even think I knew what a prostitute was or what a strip club was, let alone having virtual sex. Of course, we didn't have these games. We did have Pong, which was pretty risky at the time. But seriously, and it's one thing, I guess, to do it, but then to go on Facebook and brag about it. Well, I have this game. I don't have any problems with it. I'm not shooting up any naval shipyards. I'm not killing people. This is how I enjoy myself. In fact, it's so enjoyable, I let my 10 and 14-year-old sons play it as well. Really? Really? What else would you? I mean, would you give the 10-year-old a Playboy or a Hustler? Would that be okay? Can they sit down and watch porn with you? Would that be okay? Because, I mean, nobody's being hurt, right? I mean, where do you draw these lines? But I bring this up. This is bigger than Hollywood. One day alone, Grand Theft. And by the way, it's not even for sale worldwide yet because Japan, which is a huge consumer of video games, it's not on sale in Japan yet. And where there was another country, Brazil. I think it was Brazil. So it's not even really officially worldwide yet. And when Japan jumps in, they'll easily eclipse the 1 billion mark. But day one, Grand Theft Auto 5, $800 million in a single day, easily eclipsing the best that Hollywood. That's more money than The Man of Steel, which was the big Hollywood hit for the summer. That's more money than that movie made worldwide in its entire run. That is staggering. Staggering. And then when you factor in this extremely violent, extremely mature theme, and again, realize that a lot of people that are consuming this are not adults, but children. And again, some adults actually, I don't know, bragging about the fact that I play this. I would be embarrassed to play something like this in front of my boys. In fact, I think my boys would be disappointed with me. In fact, I know they would. Dad, really? Dad, come on. Dad, come on, grow up. Really? What if Mom sees you doing this? Generated 800 million sales in 24 hours around the world. More on that coming up. We're also going to tie this into the Navy Yard shooter. Again, this is a guy who wasn't just an avid video gamer. This guy was obsessed. I mean, just obsessed, maybe even possessed with violent video games. Not uncommon for him to play Call of Duty 2 up to 18 hours straight. I don't think I can do anything. Well, maybe stay awake. I can stay awake for 18 hours. But to play something for 18 hours straight. So, and he was so obsessed, friends would actually bring him food because he would lose track of time. Something that addictive can't really be good for you, especially in this case if you're mentally unstable. Talking about the debut of Grand Theft Auto 5, setting all sorts of records, day one, and it really wasn't even on sale worldwide because it's not available in Japan yet. Japan is a huge consumer of video games. Once they're on board, this will easily eclipse the $1 billion mark. Day one, $800 million, making more than The Man of Steel made all summer long worldwide. And we've got video gaming consoles at my house. There are some games that are on. Call of Duty 2 is in my house, partly because I wanted to see what all the fuss was about. I wanted to see, I'd heard stuff. This is terrible. I've watched my boys play it. I haven't played it myself because I really have no interest in doing that. But I've sat there and observed and watched the content. Okay? We do not have any of the Grand Theft Auto series at my house. Again, the content, it's not something I want my boys putting in their head. It's not something I want my daughters putting in their head. So anyways, there's a story, CBC News, Canadian Broadcasting, about Grand Theft Auto 5, and I'm going to put the video up for you. Actually, I'm going to have Annika put it up on our blog during the break at the bottom of the hour here. You can check it out at 1170kfaq.com. I've asked her to put it up there. This is a YouTube video of an 11-year-old child, receiving GTA 5 in the mail. A mom or dad or whoever, grandma had pre-ordered it on Amazon or wherever, and this kid is in tears. He's hysterical. And again, there's warning labels. I mean, on there. This is not for an 11-year-old kid. But this, sort of reminds me of the classic video of the two kids going absolutely nuts after finding a Nintendo 64 under the Christmas tree. Huh? Except this is, I guess, the modern day version of this. So, anyways, the video sparked criticism of his parents. Gee, why? I thought we were a judgment-free zone. And whether it's an appropriate gift at all. Listen to this. Listen to this drivel on the CBC News story. It says, parents need to pay more attention to rating labels. Kids who can't even look at Grand Theft Auto 4s or 5s, a box, without flipping out should really not be playing the game. There are like hookers and murders. Listen to this. Honestly, I think it depends on the maturity of the kids. Some kids are more mature and raised correct. What the hell's going wrong? How do you raise a child correctly so that at 10 or 11, he's totally comfortable with killing oodles of people, having virtual sex with a prostitute, getting bonus points for killing the hooker? You can't be serious. An 11-year-old child. Would you put a Playboy? Would you put a Hustler in his hands? Would you give him a cigarette? Would you serve him alcohol? The answer should be no to all of those. Why not? It's not age appropriate for starters. You're listening to your gaming headquarters. It's the Pat Campbell Show, where we talk about all things related to the gaming industry, specifically Grand Theft Auto 5. In the first 24 hours, it shattered all sales records, eclipsed anything Hollywood can do. In fact, to put it in perspective, in one day, and they say this was on sale worldwide, but that's not quite true because it's not on sale in Japan yet. Japan is a huge video game consumer. It's not on sale in Brazil yet either. So, and once that happens, this will easily eclipse the $1 billion mark. But day one, 24 hours, $800 million. To give you some perspective, that's more than the Man of Steel made all summer long worldwide in just one day. This is the new Hollywood. And we've been talking about this game in particular and the fact that there are some adults out there who feel comfortable letting their kids play this. And again, if you know the content, having virtual sex with a prostitute, getting bonus points for killing a prostitute, I don't understand, and again, maybe it's because of my age, I don't understand why an adult would want to play this. Why you would want to have a steady diet of this, let alone let a kid. Had somebody on Facebook bragging last night. They play Grand Theft Auto 4, and they're proud of the fact that they let their 14 and 10-year-old play it as well. And I actually want to see some of these people. I don't know why they're not being charged with a child abuse or child neglect. If I furnished a 10-year-old, and I've got a 10-year-old at home, my daughter, if I furnished her with alcohol, oh, my God, I'd be in so much trouble. If I furnished her with cigarettes, put videos up on YouTube of her smoking, oh, my God, the outrage. If I put pornography in a 10-year-old's hands, I'd be in trouble. But I play it with Dad. I mean, how bad can it be? Here to talk about this particular game, and we're also going to parlay this into the Navy Yard shooter who was obsessed with Call of Duty to the point where he was playing it 18 hours a day, and he was so out of it, people had to bring him food because he lost track of time. He wouldn't eat. He was so obsessed with that particular game. Joining us once again, our friend Jack Thompson from Coral Gables, Florida. Jack, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Hey, I haven't done any research on the new bells and whistles in Grand Theft Auto 5. I mean, is there? What do you do in this one? Do you perform abortions too? I mean, what's left?
Well, it's the standard fare of Grand Theft Auto with some visual enhancements and storyline enhancements.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, the job is to kill whomever you can.
Mm-hmm.
You get extra health points and therefore increased killing ability when you have sex.
Mm-hmm.
You can kill your prostitutes to get your money back. The danger of combining interactive sex with interactive violence is that those two control centers of the brain are geographically intertwined. And in fact, the Japanese understood that in preparing their warriors for World War II. They would give geisha girls to warriors, soldiers, after training them in brutalizing one another, and thereby they associated sex with violence and made sex violent and violence a sexual activity. So you've got now millions of kids out there who are associating violence with sex. You had a kid in...
What is the danger with that? And especially as we're talking about an adolescent mind and development, what's the real danger?
The danger of that is that Dr. John Murray has done brain mapping at Harvard, which is not exactly a right-wing beehive, where I might hang out, and they have found that violent entertainment basically is processed in an adolescent brain in the midbrain. The midbrain is the animalistic, for lack of a better term, part of the brain that has no inhibitions, and you trigger most activities in that part of the brain, and in an adolescent, the forebrain, the seat of the conscience of the brain, the emotional control part of the brain is not developed. And so the MRI showed that a kid playing violent video games, the midbrain lights up like a Christmas tree, and the forebrain that would intercept behaviors triggered by that violence are dark as night.
So in other words, and I've got two sons, 14 and 15, and I want to make sure that what I'm hearing is correct. You're telling me that they process the information differently than I would as an adult with an adult brain.
Right, because reality in an adolescent brain, virtual reality is reality. I'll tell you a story.
Okay.
Slaughter, Louisiana, a month ago. Some in your audience have heard this story. 8-year-old boy is with his beloved grandmother in her home.
Yeah.
She's sitting there in her chair. He's playing Grand Theft Auto, of all things.
Yeah.
She has a gun out. He grabs the gun after playing the game, shoots her in the back of the head. She dies. The police can't charge him because he's under 10. In Louisiana, you can't be held criminally culpable for anything you do. I've spoken at length with the prosecutor. The prosecutor, and this is really a man bites dog story, is out to convince the judge that the game, in fact, trained him and made him think that he was, in effect, in a video game when he shot Grandma.
Where else would you get the idea? I mean, he was just playing the game, right?
Of course. He had no grudge against Grandma. He loved Grandma.
Right.
Then you have a schizophrenic psychopath like this guy in the Navy Yard. And you're right. Kids shouldn't play the game, and you got to wonder about an adult who would. I was playing Call of Duty 16 hours a day.
18. Here's the thing, Jack. There's one thing there's one thing for an adult to play a game. I don't know that I can do anything for 18 hours straight except stay awake, and that might be a struggle for me.
Pat, there are adults who are wearing diapers so that they don't have to leave the screen to relieve themselves because they're so addicted to the games. That's
pathetic. That's pathetic.
This is an addictive device, and so his friends say, "Well, he heard voices after he played the game." Well, of course he heard voices. Listen, not everybody does what the Navy Yard psychopath did. But the fact is, the American Psychological Association has said there's a continuum of harm. Everybody who plays these games, they have found, is harmed. You become more aggressive in your speech, or you become more aggressive in your behavior.
Everybody.
Sometimes you become violent. Yes,
you're saying everybody.
Listen, who in the audience hasn't gone to a movie back when people used to go to movie theaters and seen a movie in which there was a chase scene, cars driving fast? You get in your car after you see the movie, and you have to you have to try and take your foot off the accelerator because you've been given a new normal as to how to drive.
Yeah. Let me jump in here real quick. I'm trying to understand both sides, I guess. Okay, so I was listening to an adult gamer the other night.
There's an oxymoron.
Well, hold on. Try to explain what the attraction is, and this sort of makes sense. I don't know that it's applicable to the kids, but what they like about a game like this is that they can do anything. First of all, they I guess they're turned on by the mature themes. They like the fact that they're able to do anything they want. There's no limits. Nobody's telling them what to do. It's an escape from the real world where their wife's telling them what to do or their boss is telling them what to do, and it's total anarchy. But here's the thing, Jack.
Yeah.
if I'm practicing anarchy for hours and hours and hours, guess what's eventually going to happen or could happen?
Well, here's the problem. Someone once said, "He who tells the tales defines the culture." In the Grand Theft Auto game, the bad guys are the good guys, and vice versa.
Yep.
When I did 60 Minutes twice with Ed Bradley on video games. The second time was about Grand Theft Auto, in which a teenager literally trained on the game to kill 3 cops. And Ed Bradley begins the piece by saying that the game is technologically brilliant, and it is. It's incredible, because what Grand Theft Auto did for the first time is give you, in effect, a 360-degree capability to go anywhere in this virtual world and do anything that you wanted, as long as it was violent. And so there is a freedom in the Grand Theft Auto games that's incredible. It is anarchic, it is unlimited, and it is unspeakably violent and sexual. And so what you have is people who are prone to, let's say they're already predisposed to violence. Okay. That's one of the arguments. Well, violent people are drawn to this type thing. Oh, wonderful. Let's give them a murder and let's give them a
murder simulator so they can get better at what they're going to do.
Well, that's the thing, Pat, and this is key.
Yeah.
This stuff influences two sides of the same coin: the appetite for violence, but it also gives you killing techniques and scenarios that you wouldn't otherwise have. There's a reason why Breivik, who was the Norwegian school massacrist of a couple years ago, trained on Call of Duty. Yep. It gave him a tactical technique to practice.
Made it better. Jack,
Adam Lanza of Sandy Hook played this game, Call of Duty, 16 hours a day in his basement and trained for the massacre.
Hold that thought. I want to do more with you. Jack Thompson, my guest. If you'd like to get involved, 460-1170. Want to get back to the Navy Yard shooter, and how do you keep a game like that out of somebody who's clearly mentally unstable's hands? I mean, what do we do? A 3-day waiting period? I don't know. If you can't prevent him from buying a gun, how do you prevent him from having something like this? We're going to talk about that. Talking with Jack Thompson from Coral Gables, Florida, about violent video games, very much in the news right now. Jack, back to Grand Theft Auto 5 for a minute. Opening day sales, 24 hours, $800 million. I feel comfortable going on air without even looking at stats and saying that probably at least 50% of those went to kids under the age of 18. Now, with that said, okay, and I know you've been on the warpath for years to keep games like this out of the hands of kids. But the reality is, when we look at the mass shooters recently, all of those shooters were adults. Now, they may have played these games when they were kids, too, but they were all, even Adam Lanza, I think, was 20, okay? Now, we haven't had any success keeping the games out of the hands of kids. How on earth are we going to keep something like Call of Duty 2 from, how old is the Navy Yard shooter? 31, 34, something like that. How do you keep something like that out of the hands of a mentally unstable individual? We can't even stop him from buying a gun. How do you keep this out of his hands?
Well, the genie's out of the bottle, and unfortunately. And so here's what you do. And I told you before we went on the air, I'm working with a United States Congresswoman. Can't identify, she wouldn't want me to identify who she is, but the Navy Yard massacre has lit the fuse on this effort. What needs to be done is, there needs to be a warning label on the game. This is interesting. All video games have a warning label. They say if you play this game too much, it can cause photosensitive epilepsy, which it can. There's such a electrical firestorm that's set off by the input of the games that some people have seizures. So there's that warning, but there's no warning based on behavior modification. That needs to be done. Number two, and because it hasn't been done, even though the industry designs these games by hooking kids up to polygraph devices to see what killing and sex scenes most elevate their vital signs, the industry knows that the games are addictive, they're behavior modifying, and therefore it's laid the groundwork for this. We will, within a matter of a year, I believe, have on the books a statute enabling a cause of action, a federal cause of action, which will enable anyone harmed as a result of the play of this game by anyone young or adult a cause of action against the maker of that particular game for those injuries, whether it be wrongful death, maiming, and so forth, so that a jury will hear testimony, and a judge prior to that trial will hear in a motion to dismiss or a summary judgment whether or not there's any evidence sufficient to get to a jury and to a trial that indicates that the video game, the murder simulator, had any causative effect upon the behavior. And the answer will be, in many cases, yes. And so then you will have at risk the assets of companies like Take-Two that market this thing, sell it directly to children as well as adults, knowing full well what the behavioral and societal consequences will be. And so I've been writing op-eds since 1987 on the need for this kind of statutory remedy. The plaintiffs' bar will love it. The libertarians who think that who believe in original sin unless it comes out of a corporate boardroom will hate it. But most people understand that corporations are simply people who are capable of great good and also great harm. And
Jack,
so I say put on that industry the cost of doing business.
Jack, we're out of time. Thank you. Appreciate it.